Cheers. You didn't do it in the microphone. All right.
Hobbs boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Glow Butter Podcast, with me and my brother Adam.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. He will speak up, I promise, throughout the podcast. But we're just going to kind of talk about stuff today because we felt like making a disc golf podcast because it's fun to talk about stuff. So today we have a few topics on the plate, on deck, ready to go up to bat, knock it out of the park. and I'm going to let him just introduce himself because you guys know most about me. I like to dye discs. I like to play disc golf. We will bring you some videos in the future revolving around us playing disc golf and me dyeing more discs. But it's a rainy day today, and so we decided to record a podcast. But my name's Chris. I've been playing disc golf for almost a year now. I'm probably sitting in the intermediate to upper advanced area. Upper advanced. No, maybe not upper advanced. Lower advanced. Upper intermediate skill level. Usually shooting around even to just under par at most courses. So, I mean, I'm not perfect, but I'm not terrible. So I kind of have an idea. I understand the basics of disc golf, and I do subscribe to all the disc golf channels. And I think I might have an idea of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to throw it over to my brother Adam and let him introduce himself to the community. Adam?
Okay, so I'm little brother Adam. I've been playing probably 9 months. Yeah, little brother. A couple inches taller, but little brother. So yeah, about 9 months, and it just disc golf probably played every day for the 9 months that I've been playing. Just got super into it. Oh, closer. Sorry, bud.
Closer.
I'm learning. I'm a novice. I'm like upper advanced. But yeah, so just, I don't know, I played a couple times and then just got super into it and kind of just dedicated all my free time towards disc golf and getting better. So I'm happy to bring y'all some disc golf content when COVID-19 said nah to literally the entire DGPT. So here we are.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't have any Coronas to crack, so we're just drinking that Rollin' Rock.
Too soon.
Hey, man, that's $8.50 for a 12-pack, so you can't beat that. I mean, it's apple juice. It's just foamy apple juice.
Sorry.
So, now that you know both of us, let's just jump right into it. So, Adam and I were having a conversation the other day, and we were talking about what is the best set of discs for somebody who went to Academy or went to Dick's or some other sporting goods store and bought a very simple starter set, like the Innova starter set or the Dynamic starter set, and is having success but is beating those discs in and needs something better, something more durable, and is throwing a little bit farther and is flipping things over. So we thought we'd give you 5 discs of our choice that we believe would be good for the progression of your skill level. So I think we might as well start with putters. And Adam, I'm going to let you take the wheel on this one and just go ahead and knock it out.
Okay, so in my 9 months of playing, I've gone through a couple putters, but one thing that's really important, I think, especially as you start, is something lighter. Because, I mean, obviously in the wind, not the best, but it gives you that extra float you need when you don't have the power and the confidence to just be like running every 30-foot putt straight into center pole. So I'm going with the Glow DX AVR is what I'd recommend. This one's stupid light. This is 150. Probably don't throw a 150 gram disc, but it's fun. Probably somewhere in the 160 to 170 range is good. It'll give you that little bit of extra distance. Feels really comfortable in the hand, good grip, even in like wet conditions. But yeah, AVR.
The AVR.
Simple, classic.
Now, have you been throwing the AVR though?
Yeah, I mean, not anymore. I'm at the point where I've progressed a little bit further, and I throw the Luna now. But that's, again, a lot less. It's less glide, heavier, and it requires like full commitment to your putts. So it's definitely not something I would start with. But the AVR, I would recommend right after you go through your starter set, going up something like this.
That's fair. See, for me, the AVR is a little too stable.
Okay. I like stable
for
putters.
like an initial, like when I was going through my beginner phase, I went with something like the Swan 1 Reborn. I wiped the stamp on this one, but it's got like a -3.5 turn.
2.5.
So -2.5 turn. So it's stupid understable. There's no reason to ever throw this off the tee. I feel like unless you need to get right fast, or you start it on just like in a vertical
90-degree hyzers.
Yeah, and just let it flip up. But for like straight putts, anywhere inside of 30 feet, all the way up to maybe 60 feet, that understability is going to let you go straight. So like if you want that like shallow rim feel and you want just a very straight putter, I recommend it in the medium plastic, the medium burst.
Yeah.
I can't remember what latitude. West Side's like
BT mediums with
BT medium. Yeah. It just grabs chains and it beats in real fast, and it's so straight.
Yeah.
It's just such a straight putter. And if you aren't to the point where you're throwing your putting putter off the tee yet, just having a straight putter is so key. It's so key to a good game, because putting makes, drive for show, putt for dough. So the Swan 1 Reborn is my recommendation, and I think it's better than the AVR DX Glow.
Okay, but I mean, one thing that I have against understable putters, and I know Paige Pierce has been throwing understable putters, and she's one of the best putters, not only for women but for men too. It's very straight. You can throw it on a hyzer, it'll flip up and go straight, but you really kind of have to change your putting style. So if you do switch to putters, putting with the stable putter is not the same at all, and you're going to be missing a lot. I don't know, just for me, that's not the move.
No,
but I mean, it is becoming more popular, especially with the Fierce from Paige. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I could definitely see that in terms of headwind situations. The understable putter's probably not the best option, but if you're putting into a headwind and you're still kind of a beginner, it's gonna be rough anyway. So then we decided on 5 discs. I can't remember if I already said that.
Nice.
So sorry. And so we did a putt, a putter, a putt and approach, a mid-range, a fairway driver, and a distance driver. So that's what we're going to explain to you. So Adam, why don't you take it away on the putt and approach disc and let us know what you picked and why.
So this is the only putt and approach disc you'll need, especially as like someone who's learning the game and developing. Jawbreaker zone. I mean, there's other zones you can get like, ESP, Z, whatever, but that has more stability.
you flip the B upside down and turn it into a P.
Stop. Jawbreaker, because not only does it have the best feel in your hand, but as you play, as you use it more, it'll beat in and it's going to go straight at higher speeds. So any shot that's straight 250 to 300, you can just lace a Jawbreaker zone at it and it'll hold the line, fade a little bit, or even shorter approach shots. You can throw at little backhand, forehand flex, and it's going to do exactly what you want.
I love my Jawbreaker zone for like forehand flicks and just like so it sits by the basket.
Yeah, it just grabs the ground and it's going to become a puddle. As you can see, like this is in no way flat anymore. It's super warped, but I mean that's kind of the character, and it really like that's what makes it understable. So highly recommend, and it looks sick.
That's true. You hit the tripod. What are you doing? Come on. Don't hit Leo the cat, huh? Well, mine was pretty similar. I went with the ESP zone. The ESP zone tends to be a little bit more overstable, and it holds that stability for longer, so you can kind of always rely on it, even as you grow in skill level. The ESP zone, it'll break in over time, don't get me wrong, but it will definitely stay stable. I think the only zone more stable than the ESP is probably the Z Plastic zone.
Definitely, yeah. Z Glow, I feel like, is the most stable.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even talking to my mic.
So yeah, I mean, we're pretty much on the same page in terms of approach disc. Like, it's a shallow rim, and it feels great for forehands. It feels incredible for backhands. You put a lot of spin on it, and it likes to go straight and just dump at the end. Great disc. Can't recommend it enough. Discraft really hit the nail on the head when it came to the ESP zone. It's just one of those things that you have. There always needs to be something that you're carrying that you can always rely on to do the exact same thing every time, whether it's windy, whether it's just calm, pouring rain, just whatever, as long as you know it's going to do the same thing every time, and that's the zone. Like,
facts. I mean, there's some other like manufacturers that have comparable discs with like similar numbers, like the Harp and such, but
the Rat too.
The Rat, okay, but like I don't know. After feeling all of them,
it's just something about it.
Something about the zone. It just feels the best. It delivers the best results.
And the Harp is so much deeper.
It is. It doesn't feel right. That one's just it's like, what do they say, can top, or not can top?
I don't know what it's called.
You don't even, okay, whatever.
I don't know what it's called.
Flat, shallow. Yeah. Shouts out zone though.
Yeah, zone. If I'm a big Discmania thrower, I love Discmania, just like the way they do business and everything. But like, I have not found a replacement for the zone.
Razor Claw.
I want the Razor Claw to come out so I can try it and see what it does. The Razor Claw is something I want to try. Pick that mic back up, son.
I'm not talking.
It doesn't matter. Just keep it there for the entire podcast. I'm sorry if your arm gets tired. I know it's hurt.
I literally injured my arm, so
we went out. Hold on. We went out to watch Waco, right? And we got up there. They got up there. Him and his buddy got up there Thursday, like during the day, pretty much in the morning.
For first rounds, yeah.
For first round, I got up there about halfway through the feature card round, and like just watching these guys play. And Brody was awesome. It was fun to watch Brody. It was fun to just watch him compete. So we watched Thursday's round, and of course Paul was incredible. Drew was incredible. Like, you know, Kale, who's one of my personal favorite disc golfers. I throw the M4 religiously. They were all super great to watch. But then coronavirus. We drove all the way to Waco from Houston, like 3.5 hours to get there to watch this, and it got shut down.
Yeah, no spectators the second day, so drove there, watched the first day, great. Woke up the next morning.
I watched half of the first round.
Well, that's your fault for working. Woke up on our way there the next morning, open UDisc to see UDisc live scores, get an idea of what to expect for the day, and it says, by the way, you're not allowed to be here. I'm like, okay.
Hey, yo, dip out real quick.
That ain't
like,
chief,
hey, sorry, that was a little tangent.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where I was going with that, the whole Waco thing.
Zone, bro.
It was definitely about the zone. But yeah, the zone. Got a little off topic there. So, all right, so Adam, what's your mid-range? What's the mid-range?
Going Buzz. Obviously, you don't have to get one like this, but I would recommend the ESP Plastic for a couple reasons.
Wait, just ESP or like the Tour Series? Because I heard they fly different.
They fly like a little bit different. Like personally, I have a couple ESPs and then a couple of the Tour Series. The Tour Series is similarly understable, maybe a little bit more understable than the normal ESP in my experience. But with Discraft, and one reason why I think it's probably the best disc company is that they have the SS versions, the normal versions, and the OS versions.
Right.
Is that like, so if you like the disc, you like the feel, you like the mold, you can either go more understable or overstable version of that disc. And I think that's something that's really important. Then you also can go into plastic type, and depending on how overstable or understable you want it to be. So this one will just like compared to my other Z buzzes or my Buzz SS's, you put it on whatever line you want, and it's going to hold that line at whatever power you put it on. So Buzz, favorite mid-range of all time, and then ESP for a beginner, I would definitely recommend because it's going to do what you want to do. It's going to hold that line.
I think the Buzz is probably pretty universally accepted as one of the best mid-ranges of all time. It's like the Buzz and the Rock are probably the most iconic mid-ranges
No doubt.
ever.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be a little more advanced to throw a Rock, whereas a Buzz, everywhere from pro to beginner can throw a Buzz.
Yeah.
Without a problem.
I think you can throw a Rock too, but the Buzz, it's just like, I don't know. The Rock requires specific throws for it.
Right.
And this will just do whatever you want it to. It's the most workable mid-range.
The Rock, you have to...
Oh, okay.
We got Leo jumping in on the party. But yeah, you're right. The Buzz, that's a great choice, actually. I don't
ESP
throw a
Buzz.
Buzz, and I
Just
feel
Mania
like maybe
fanboy.
I should, but I throw a Rock, and I cycle a bunch of DX Rocks through my bag, so that tends to be my mid-range go-to. But for me, in terms of like beginner to intermediate, I gotta go with Innova's Mako 3, just because the numbers on it. I mean, especially in the G-Star, it's a little bit... this one's a little bit more domey. I don't know what your G-Star, discs are going to do, but this one's a little bit more domey, and it's a little bit more overstable, but the numbers are 5500. Like, it's essentially a very fast ultimate disc. No, I'm probably talking out my ass there.
Yeah, they're more understandable.
But it's really one of those things that you can throw this however you want, and it's going to hold any angle. I don't personally throw it anymore, mostly because I don't like the way the rim feels. It's kind of a rounded lip here down towards the rim, and it just does not sit in my hand right. It's one of the reasons I like the Rock, because the Rock digs into the palm really well. But learning a Mako 3 in figuring out how to make it do exactly what you want is awesome.
Oh,
like
that's what I learned on for the Buzz.
Yeah, the Mako 3 is an incredible disc, and you can get use out of it whether you're expert or very beginner, and it's straight. It's just so straight.
Yeah, no, it is. And like going back to what I said about the Buzz is that it'll hold whatever line you want it to. The Mako is more so because especially with the Buzz, if you throw it on a high zone, it'll get that little bit of flip up and carry. But the Mako is going to hold it, and it's not really going to get that flip up. So it really makes you learn your angle control and your release point, because it'll just hold exactly that, which could be punishing at times. That's why I'd recommend the Buzz over that personally.
Yes, you have more of a reliable fade.
Yeah.
But just learning, if you're throwing in the woods as a beginner intermediate, Mako 3, excellent disc. Freaking-tastic. But now we move on to the discs
Fairway
everyone
drivers.
wants to know about. It's always been about the drivers in the disc golf community, because every in the
Sick.
whoa, lost track of my words there. Every in the bag,
There you go.
everyone gets excited over the drivers. That's why they go from putter to highest speed drive, and you're sitting on my discs, Leo.
Get off his disc, boy.
So let's go with the second most bell of the ball with the fairway driver of your choice, Adam.
Okay, so I believe fairway drivers are the most important discs, and that's the biggest thing I learned when I was getting better, is that you need fairway drivers, because that's like, as you're developing your arm speed and your release, the power that you're releasing is more in the fairway speed range than it is a speed 11, 12, 13, 14, like the Corvette. Stupid.
Like if you're Calvin Heimberg, the Corvette's
Then
gonna
you're
hit.
fine. But like if you're developing, even playing less than a year, like even less than 2 years, you're not going to be throwing that like to its full capabilities. So I think speed 9 is probably pretty ideal. And another thing that like when you're developing, you're getting more of that power, you need more stability, because a lot of the starter sets are going to come with things that are super understable.
So
like
you
I know
like the stability.
I do. Yeah,
for,
I know.
For a beginner, intermediate.
Yeah, because when you're, let's see, like say you have your, oh my God.
No, not now. I
Canceled.
love you, but not now.
But so Innova starter sets, they come with, you know what their the driver is? It's the Beast, which is like, what is it, -2, -3, 1, something like that.
-2.
And then Discraft, especially with Brody's new release, is the what is it, Avenger SS, which is like -3 again too. So if you're building on that bag, you're gonna have your understable driver. You're gonna have that option. So I would recommend. This is what I started with, was the Undertaker. So it's a 9.5 -1.2. So it'll get that little bit of flip up if you're releasing it at the right speed, but it's still gonna have that reliable finish. And then especially as you develop further in your like consistency of release and the speed that you're throwing, it's gonna hold whatever line you put on it. Like it'll hold Annie's all the way. If you throw it on a high zero, get a little bit of flip up at a reliable fade. And overall, I would recommend it. And especially the ESP plastic is a little more understable.
What are the numbers on it?
It's 9.5 -1.2.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it really is just like your straight disc. I know you could have like, there's some other alternatives. You'll have your T-Bird 3, A4, O2, and that'll be like, it'll be straight to the point where it fades hard. But this is more workable, and it's more like shot shaping, I guess, and it'll hold different lines, and you can do more with it than like, especially at lower arm speeds. So
yeah. I can see that. That's for me, in my opinion, that's a bit of a fast fairway driver to start with. But to each their own. If you have a pretty big wingspan, so the Undertaker's a good fairway driver for you. For me, I have the thought of develop that finesse with the fairway driver, because I've always had the problem of trying to overpower everything. So like learning to go 70% speed or 50% speed with more of an understable fairway driver has been a massive help in terms of my game overall. So in that respect, I chose the Maverick. The Maverick is a 7.4 -1.5 in a fade of 2. But I would not listen to these numbers specifically. In terms of dynamic discs, the numbers tend to be a little bit off from all the other companies. But the Maverick's incredible. If you want to power down, if you need something in the woods to go straight and not fade too hard, the Maverick's awesome. You can use it for turnovers. If you put a lot of hyzer on it, it'll hold that hyzer and just like it'll flip up and just pull back to the left hard. So with your Undertaker, it tends to be a little bit more overstable, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the Maverick it's an understable fairway driver that anybody can get use out of. Personally, I throw the Lucid X Maverick, so if anyone out there has any more, I cannot find those discs anywhere, man. Dude, the Lucid X Maverick is my favorite fairway driver of all time. Just because I'll throw it on maybe like 25-degree hyzer and it just flips up flat. And I throw it about 75% power and it just goes straight. So the Maverick, in terms of beginner intermediate level, is a great fairway driver to figure out what you want and learn those little finesse shots.
Absolutely.
So that's my choice for fairways.
Sick. And then what are we on now?
Well, Adam, I gotta tell you, we're on to the big daddies, the distance drivers. We're out here making moves, throwing fast discs, trying to go as far as you can. Don't quit slinging discs, or whatever that sign said.
You're trying, bud. No one's
I've had a few.
So he said distance drivers when we were making this selection, and I think that might not be the best thing, and you don't really, especially if your starter set comes with something that's like a 9 or 10 speed, that like, especially as you're developing, you might not like, you can get one, but your arm speed isn't really there yet to the point where, because for me anyway, my Undertaker was going as far as I had some like DDXs that were like 3 speeds faster, but I was still throwing the Undertaker just as far because arm speed is more important than like the disc speed, and you matching your disc to arm speed.
Can you hear me rolling my eyes?
Yeah, I feel it. It's palpable.
I'm rolling them as hard as I can.
So on that note, I'm picking, so not a distance driver, but a disc that you should add to your bag to develop your game. I'm going to go with the Raptor.
Oh, and I can't argue with that, though.
No, it's an essential for me. And 9403, a lot of people would go Firebird or Predator from Discraft, which is 9404, or Firebird, same thing. But I think the 03 is good, especially at lower arm speeds, because sometimes the 04 can be so dumping and punishing that you're not going to get like any semblance of a full flight out of it. It's just going to dump hard. But an overstable fairway driver is an essential in the bag. In every Jomez video or any coverage of tournaments, you'll see like it's essential that you have an overstable fairway. Yeah. It's just so important, especially for skip shots. You can learn your flexes, anything like that. Forehand, backhand, perfect. This is a perfect forehand disc, and I would recommend it very highly. And this is just one. It's like at lower arm speeds, it's going to dump pretty hard, I guess, but not as hard as a Firebird or a Predator. But
don't choke on the mic.
Damn, I lost my train of thought. Essential.
So I kind of like what you did here. You took the fairway and distance driver, and you almost combined the category and said, okay, you know, this is a faster fairway, this is a slower, overstable fairway, which kind of combines to a fairway and distance driver. Whereas like the Undertaker is going to get you a little bit more flip, but the Raptor is dumpy. Personally, I love the Raptor. Yeah. That's actually my Raptor, my Z Raptor.
Mine were dirty and you didn't want to see them.
I wanted to get Ulibarri's signature on there, but you know, Waco was canceled. So, Paul, if you're out there, please, I actually bid on one of your dollar disc golf auctions to get your signed Raptors, and I didn't get it. I had to bail out at $40. I was like, oh, yikes. I have other things to spend money on. Bills. Or other discs, essentially. Also, so, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good choice because it goes far.
No, I mean, it does. But, like,
disc.
When we had talked about this, we kind of said what you want to build your bag on, like after you have your basic starter set, like how you want to, or what additions you want to make. So not necessarily like, I didn't know we were doing just straight up distance drivers, but I'm going to spin my choices to act like I did. But
no.
I think these are essential discs.
No. When we were deciding this, I said putter, putt and approach, mid-range, fairway,
that's when I stopped listening.
Distance driver. Yeah, you stopped listening at fairway driver.
So my interpretation of not listening was that I'm going to pick discs that you need to have, and then you can like, I don't know. I really think that like a distance driver of like speed 10, especially starting out, is good enough.
But if you're starting to build that arm speed.
No, if you are, yeah. But like if you only have your starter set, and this is my interpretation, it's like, oh, okay, so I have a putter, a buzz, and an Avenger SS, and what do I add to my bag? My first thing is going to be I need a distance driver to go faster. Like I need some more stability. I think stability is pretty important, like to controlling your shots and to be predictable in any wind conditions.
Okay.
So that's my interpretation. Hot take.
That's fair. So fine. Then we will get to my distance driver. What I chose was a Biofusion Trespass. Now, if you have ever thrown a Trespass, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. It is a speed 12 with a glide of 5, turn of minus 0.5, and a fade of 3, but I think those numbers are very off. I think it's more of like a speed 12, glide 4, 5, and a turn of minus 1.5 with a fade of 2 or 3. it's, especially in the biofusion plastic, it's much flatter than if you got it in the fusion or the lucid plastic, and it tends to fly a little bit more understable. So if you have a lower arm speed, the trespass on a full rip is going to get you the most distance. And it does cut through the air very well. When I was in that beginner intermediate stage, the trespass was my distance driver. It was crushing it because you just release it on the tiniest bit of hyzer and it flips up and just turns for days and comes back and seems to land right back on that line that you initially released it on. And with the biofusion plastic, it's significantly cheaper than lucid and fusion, so replacing it's not a huge deal. And also with the biofusion, it breaks in a lot faster than the fusion and lucid, so you can rotate the disc through your bag almost quicker as you advance more. And in my opinion, that helps a lot because I like to have multiples of the same disc in my bag or like in reserve that I can just dip into. So the trespass is my go-to distance driver for a beginner / intermediate that I'm starting to take this seriously kind of person. And if you don't have the arm speed for it, you will know because you'll throw it out there and it will just dump left. Yeah. Which can be good if you're learning forehands or if you just need something to get left.
So just have a Raptor or a Firebird. It's like...
Well, okay, but your Undertaker's going to dump left for people that can't throw.
Okay, but a 9-speed versus a 12-speed.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like this would do the same thing because you
got
the Maverick. The Maverick's
really
going to flip up.
No, that's...
But yeah, the biofusion came out a little
flaccid.
A little flaccid. It's actually very stiff, and it's great for it's great for forehands. I recommend the trespass, especially once you start throwing a little faster. The trespass is great for forehand flip ups, and it will just go. Mm-hmm. For a long time, the trespass was my long Annie line until I found the DDX. So is that our discs? Is that all of them? I think that's all of them. That's 5, right?
Yep.
So you want to just go over yours again real quick, your picks, and then...
So I'm not going to pick them up off the floor. So my picks were AVR. It's, fade, turn 0, fade 1. So pretty point and shoot, not too much overstability, but it is like, it's training you to like eventually transition to more overstable putters and be more confident instead of relying on some more understable putters and like the flip up that
shots
it provides.
Fired. Okay.
Shots fired. Yeah. I mean, I still like the Fierces and the what did you throw, the Swan. And no, it is good. And like I still have that in my bag for like flick out Annies to like get out of jail in the woods. Texas woods are trash. Just want to say that. But and then going to mid range, Buzz not SSS, ESP. Buzz ESP.
Tour ESP.
Okay, but not even that. Like, I don't think it really matters because they're pretty much the same. But if you're going to spend $5 more, I wouldn't say it's like you need it. It's like aesthetics. And if it makes you feel more confident, absolutely go up to the Tour ESP plastic.
If you have the money.
If you have the money and like it makes, I don't know, if it looks cooler and it would make you happier, do it. Like, why not? But it doesn't make a significant... I would say that for most signature discs, like it might be a little different than the normal plastic that it's in, but if it gives you that extra little placebo effect, like confidence, like, oh, I'm going to throw like this player, like do it. Why not support them? It's a good thing, but I don't think it's super necessary. And then next one I had, I skipped the Jawbreaker Zone. Jawbreaker Zone just goes without saying. I didn't even need to say it, obviously.
No, I mean, I'm not going to even argue that.
Yeah.
I love
Jawbreaker Zone. And like, it gets to the point with zones where you could have multiple zones in like several different plastics. Like I have a Jawbreaker and a Z right now just because they do slightly different things, but like they're just vital.
I mean, I have a Jawbreaker.
That's my
ESP,
only approach to this. It's like honestly, like a lot of pros and advanced players will throw putters as upshots, and while this is putt and approach, like I would still take these over a normal putter to like that I know really well to throw upshots.
Yeah, I mean the zone. I just like you and I are in the same boat, so I'll
Yeah.
just go ahead and jump on that. The zone is great for anywhere between
even 250, 300.
300.
Yeah.
300 to 150 feet. Zone is hands down the best disc to throw.
Even under that too, if you need like some little tricky shot, you can just go forehand flick and just have it go around trees because you'll have the reliable fade.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do. Zone. If I ever get sponsored by Discraft, signature. I don't know whose signature right now is that.
I mean,
You didn't see
Paul
they just released
had
it.
right?
No, there's another signature. If you know,
Dang, Paul
add
didn't
in the
get
comments.
zone?
He has the Crystal Luna or Z Luna.
I know.
So it's like, but that's
I
cooler.
mean, I get it.
Like it's his own mold. Like
Yeah, that's
just
fair.
like that. But yeah, if you know, throw it in the comments because I forgot. It was a couple days ago when they released a couple of them. Yeah.
And then
And
you
then
got the Undertaker. and the
Undertaker, give
Rap-
you that flip up.
Raptor.
It'll go. ESP is a little more understable than the Titanium or the Z, anything like that. And it's good for learning shot shaping on the distance drives, and it's a good addition to some understable distance drivers, but it's not too overstable. Then Raptor, an essential. It's just a tool to have. It's really good for learning flexes, forehand and backhand, skip shots, anything like that. Super necessary.
And then I had the Swan 1 Reborn, very understable putter that goes straight from pretty much any distance that you want to throw it from, in a medium plastic. So when it hits the ground, it doesn't want to skip. It doesn't want to go anywhere. It wants to sit. It grabs the chains hard because it's that BT medium plastic. The G-Star Mako 3, which is it's very gummy. It's a little bit more domey, at least the run that I have, and it will hold any line you put on it. It's incredible. The Maverick, the Lucid Maverick specifically, if you can get your hands on a Lucid X, do it. But the Lucid Maverick is still fantastic. If you find something a little bit more flat, it's even better. Great for flip-up shots through the woods, and especially where we live in Texas, in East Texas, in the Houston area. Woods shots are
Everything.
incredibly important. Like,
Don't get started.
And then the Trespass for distance, you get a lot of flex on it. If you put a lot of spin on it, it will give you that distance that you need, even without a whole lot of arm speed. And as you grow into it, it can turn into a roller as you beat it in. So those are our 5 discs that we chose for our starter set. This podcast is mainly designed to help beginners to intermediates, or even just give our ideas on what we think it should be.
Because we just went through that, and we're like at the point where we're finally understanding the subtle nuances of the game, and like how just little mistakes that we've made could have affected our game for the worse, and we just want to like share that. And just if that saves you a couple months of making mistakes or doing something wrong, if you can just like correct it like that, it helps so much. Because little tips like from advanced players are what made me better in like a short amount of time.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
Same here for sure. And in learning how to read the wind, we are at that point where like throwing a specific disc for the wind conditions is how we play the game. So we are a little bit past the discs that we named here. Although I do still throw the Raptor. I do still throw the Zone.
All of those are still in my bag.
And I do throw a Lucid X Maverick if I need just a touchy wood shot. But I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to discs like this, or just play in general as a
entering
beginner.
Like getting more serious about
it. Getting more serious about it, kind of beginner. And I figured we might as well tackle some of those misconceptions. What do you think's like the biggest issue when it comes to beginners? What did you like struggle with?
Okay, I have so many, honestly, because I've learned so much in such a short amount of time. So I got stuff written down. But my biggest one for my development in terms of throws and as a player and my wallet was buying too many discs, because I'd see something, I'd like it, I'd want it, I'd buy it, and then in my disc or my bag, I would have 20 different molds, and it'd be to the point where like, oh, this type of shot I need to throw this disc instead of, oh, I need to throw this disc this way. So
Right.
instead of relying on certain discs and certain molds, I would have certain discs for like very specific shots, and it kind of like, I don't know, it put me in a corner because I'd like rely on specific things that I wouldn't know how to adjust my technique to different throws. I would just be relying on different discs and throwing it the same way, and
Right.
that kind of like, I don't know.
I mean,
That
I
hurt
guess
my
that's
game.
that's a play to a point. I have noticed there are disc golfers that go with, oh, you want to release the disc the same way every time and let the disc do the work. And then there's those players that are like, no, you want to throw essentially the same disc every time and learn the different ways to throw it. Whereas I'm kind of in that in-between stage where I'm like, no, I want certain discs to do certain things, but I want to know the different ways to throw each disc in my bag.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep a limited number of molds in my bag. I have at least 2 of every mold in my bag because I want those backups in case I mess up. And I have discs, like I'll have a few rocks in there that all fly a little bit differently for each shot, but I know how I need to release the rock to make it do what I want it to do. Same with the zone, same with, the DD3. I know what I need to do to make it do what I want it to. So it really all depends on the wind for me to deciding on the weight or the different mold of disc.
Yeah. That's fair. I had a train of thought, but I forgot what I was
Oh,
talking
no.
about.
Did I derail it?
No, but
Well, that camera died, so this is going to be an audio podcast.
ha. But yeah, going on top of that, instead of, don't buy too many discs, buy some you like, and then just slowly branch out instead of buying a bunch of different discs that you're not sure if you're going to throw, because it'll slow you down ultimately. But when you are buying discs and learning the different throws and the types of throws, you need, I think plastic matters so much, a lot more than you think it would, because for me, when I was first starting, didn't know much. It was more aesthetics, and I'd be like, oh, I like the way this looks, so I'm going to buy this. But it really does matter.
It
like,
does.
It can change like up to 0.5 to 1 for every stat, I would say. Like Champ plastic versus Star, very much more overstable than the Star, or ESP is a lot more understable than the Z or Z Glow especially. And then also knowing your brand, I would say, is super important.
Yeah.
If
Because
you
I
go
feel like the numbers
Trilogy
for each brand are very
a
different.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like Trilogy, know that it's a lot more understable. For like almost every disc they have, it's more understable than the numbers would suggest.
Yeah. No, I
In terms
agree
of
with that.
Yeah.
And I think the plastic for Trilogy breaks in a little bit easier
Mm-hmm.
than
For almost
than
all of them.
Innova and Discraft, which are the other big ones in terms of molding. And that kind of goes along with the misconception that I had. Numbers and plastic types are 2 totally different things. Like you go to Academy, you pick up a DX Wraith, and you throw that. Like that's going to be way more understable for the most part than a Champion Wraith or a Star Wraith. They're going to fly completely different, even though the numbers are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So the big thing is try discs. So Adam was saying, like, don't buy a bunch of different discs, but he means in terms of, don't buy them for, like, thinking the numbers are right. Buy them to try them out and use them for a specific purpose. It's just one of those things. Like every plastic is going to fly differently, and the numbers, even from company to company, don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't.
You gotta throw to know.
You got to throw to know. That's
TM.
actually a good way. Yeah, I mean that's a big thing. Like especially with Trilogy, is I feel like the numbers are slightly off. I think Latitude's probably the closest.
Yeah, they're pretty.
And then it would be West Side, and then Dynamic feels a little bit off. But to be fair to them, they're throwing in. I think they're doing most of their tests in Kansas with just crazy different wind conditions constantly. So I feel like that's got to pose a struggle when they're doing that. So like this is no shade towards anybody, but
it's just something you should know when you're investing in more premium discs. It's like it's important to
right.
know.
Like who would you say is the most overstable in terms of their numbers, or like more overstable than their numbers?
I'd have to go Discmania.
Discmania?
Personally, yeah, because not only are most of their molds, like, they don't make very many understable molds. Like, there's, I think, the TD is, like, one of their only understable ones. It's, like, a minus 3-1. But everything else they have is pretty overstable, and they're meant for, like, the higher level player that's going to, like, want that stability because they have the arm speed to do whatever they want with it. So all their discs are a little more overstable than they would say. That's from my experience.
Yeah, and I think I experienced that the same with Innova. Is Innova's runs vary so much, and because they mold for Discmania too, those discs just vary so much. Mm-hmm. It really just depends on the
That's
run.
On the disc.
Because I have a Leopard 3 that is the most overstable fairway driver that I think I've ever thrown. And then I have a Leopard 3 also in the Champion plastic. That's essentially a roller. Yeah, it's you have to try the disc. You have to learn about parting lines, but that's a whole different can of worms to open. And it's just you just got to try the disc. You just got to try it and see what you like, and find out if you like pop tops, if you like flat tops, if you like, Champion style plastic, if you like a more what's the word I'm looking for? Not see-through.
You got opaque?
Opaque. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes. It really depends on what you want.
Oh yeah. You got it. No, you got it.
No. You're right. I do got it. Big hot take. The X step is not necessary to get distance. It's not. The X step should get you 20 to 30 feet more distance. That's it. If you're doing it right.
Okay, see, if you're doing it right, though. And what are we addressing this video to?
Misconceptions.
People that are just... Oh, no, I understand that. But if we're just developing from beginners into intermediate or high-level advanced, whatever you said earlier. But no, I think, like, as a beginner, it really helps you get into that form and that balance. Like, obviously you want your release point. We're doing field work. You want that standstill so you know how you're releasing, but to like really get your body and activate your core and all that, I think the X step is pretty important, especially when I was learning.
See, and I disagree. I feel like the X step actually hindered my learning development when it came to distance drives and just learning proper form, because I would rely on that so much of getting distance. I would, be 4 or 5 feet behind the tee box and get a big run up and try to throw as hard as I could, and it would throw me off. Just the X step is great if you utilize it correctly, but it's not important. Maybe not for distance. I'll give you distance. It'll get you a little more distance, but in terms of accuracy, which is pretty much any course, the X step isn't the most necessary part of the throw. Learn to throw correctly before you start incorporating the X step.
I can see that. I'll give you that one, actually.
Yeah.
And then, but again, going back to what he said about throwing correctly, I would say, throw your discs at the speed that they were meant to be thrown at. Because my biggest thing is I would have, like I said, this is another reason why I didn't incorporate distance drivers into my selection, was because I would be throwing, I had a Nuke that was my first distance driver that I really liked. I would think I needed that when it was a long hole, like a long par 3 or a par 4, and I'd be throwing that, and then I would throw a 10 speed just as far. And it's really not necessary to have that speed if your arm speed isn't matching the speed of the disc. And that's especially important when you're throwing mid-ranges as well, because a lot of the mid-ranges that you'll throw are like pretty stable, like the buzz -1-1 or a little overstable 0-2. But if you're not throwing them at a speed 5, it's not going to perform like the numbers would suggest, and it's going to be a lot straighter and more understable, and you're not going to get the results that you'd want from it. So just throw discs at the speed that you're supposed to throw them at. Otherwise, it's not going to do what you want it to do. Straight up.
That's a solid word of wisdom from the Atom.
The Atom.
Which kind of just dribbles into my next point, which is power is overrated. I've seen people throw speed 8 discs. Like I have actually a speed 8 disc from Mint, the Alpha, that I can throw 400 pretty readily. And it's not about power, it's about form. It's not about the disc, it's about form. Oh, okay. It's a little bit about the disc.
Matching speed.
Speed.
Yeah, that's so important. So important. Like, so form, and then knowing yourself and not trying to rip to meet a 13 speed or like power down a little bit, but just like throw the right form and know your game well enough to where you're throwing within your capabilities, and you're going to get the best results.
Yeah, because you can probably throw a 9 or 8 speed disc at a certain power level further than you can a 12 or 13,
especially as you're
disc.
developing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing I wish I had taken into account when I was learning, was throw the disc that matches your arm speed. I mean, I don't have anything to add to that. That is just something that you should do. So,
and that's again why I don't think you need distance drivers off the bat. I think they're good. If you have understable distance drivers, that's fine, because it'll get the flip up. But I think it's not the most important thing.
We were on different thought processes. Okay, I was saying if you had a distance driver, the trespass was a good. You went for that whole loophole bull.
It's more I didn't listen to what you were saying, but like, yeah, we can go with me trying to be rebellious. I'm fine with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you have anything else on your misconceptions list? Sick. I love filling the podcast with just awkward silence.
Yeah, okay, I can't.
Is your handwriting that bad?
No, I told you dyslexia.
Oh my God.
Stop.
What is that?
I'm a doctor in handwriting only. Yeah, okay. Are you done? What else do you have on your list?
I figured we'd talk about just some do's and don'ts on the course.
Okay, let's do that.
How about this? Don't trace your disc in permanent marker onto the benches and label it disc charger. How about don't do that?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a problem wherever
that's
anybody listening is. Yeah, like, but literally everyone has done that. And after the first one I saw,
not literally everyone, literally every course has had that done.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, not everyone does that, because that's kind of, I don't know. It's a little cheesy. Like the first one, I was like, aha, that's funny, and I'm like, it progressed further. I'm like, oh God, please stop. Like,
yeah, at this point, you're like graffitiing on the
it's literally graffiti course. At that point. Like, write your name. Man. That's somehow less annoying.
Like we want this sport to be so attainable for people. Like, don't do it. Don't make other people feel like that's a good thing to do or like a funny thing to do. Just don't. Also, pick up your beer cans.
Yeah.
Don't just throw the beer cans on the ground. If you have to put them in your bag, I'm sorry, your bag's going to smell like beer in that one pocket for a day and a half.
But your bag's going to be gross regardless of whether you have beer in it.
Yes,
honestly.
That's very true. Your bag's going to be gross because you probably have a used towel in there. Just throw the beer can in there. Just crush it on the ground. Throw it in the pocket. Forget about it. Don't leave your beer cans out on the course. Don't act like you're going pee and then toss the beer can into the woods. That's bull. All right? We want this to be, they took the time to make this course what it is. Respect it.
Facts.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
That drives me up the wall. I don't know. I can't really think of anything other than those two things to just not do on the course. Try not to break limbs on trees, maybe.
On purpose, yeah. Break things off there in your way for a shot.
Yeah.
It's like leave the course integrity, like, because obviously that's not legal to begin with, but also it's like affecting the course for other people, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you let the course designers or the ones that are overseeing the course do that, if that's how they want to adjust the course, but just kind of leave it and play it as it lies. It'll not only like it'll challenge your game, make you better, and it'll also like, I don't know, leave the integrity of the course intact.
Yes, leaving the integrity of the course intact is a great
Summation.
pin to end the podcast on.
Sick.
Adam, this is our first podcast.
Hell yeah.
We did it.
Cox
We
Brothers.
made it all the way through the Cox Brothers. That's our last name. Good. So glad you guys can look us up now.
Oh.
You just doxed us.
Docs.
But thank you guys for listening. Obviously not a video podcast now because I just noted both cameras were not recording that whole time. So it's just exclusively audio. And I hope you
Cool.
guys enjoyed it. If you want more of it, let me know. If there are discs that you think we missed for the starter set, you pick 5 discs. Please leave it in the comments below because a lot of it is preference based, and I want to know what your preference is.
And we're very highly opinionated. So.
We're very highly opinionated.
It's like just because 2 people, I think that's the best one. Like you saw, we're in such close proximity, but we disagree so much, and our playing styles are very different.
Very different.
Yeah, like same results, but we play so differently, and the way we go about different shots and different courses is so dissimilar. So it really is like about you and knowing your game. I think that's another thing we should. I know we already said we're going to end the podcast, but know your game and don't try to like, I don't know, be realistic with yourself.
Yeah.
And know what you're good at, and like it's good to develop new skills, but to make your scores better, like go with your highest percentage shot, go with what you know best, instead of like, oh, this is what Paul would have done, this is what like
Right.
Ricky would have done. Like throw what you know, even if it's not the like prettiest shot or like what you think you should do, like go with what you know and what you're best at. Because
if you want to go for it and you're not going for score, then go for it.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to get better, yeah, exactly. Go within your skill set, know your limits, and play to that. For sure. That's
Big
the best
facts.
way to go about it.
Sick.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. This was the Glow Butter Disc podcast. I almost said Comcast.
Comcast. Sponsor.
Sponsor.
Is
And,
Comcast even around?
Yeah, I think they're still a thing.
Irrelevant. Anyway, go on.
Thank you guys for joining us. This was Chris and Adam from the Glow Butter Disc Golf Podcast. Let us know what you want to see in the future in terms of videos or subjects for a podcast. And yeah, sorry for rambling so long.